Coming into classifications of line signals, it's all through opposite location signals. Operation stream location system. Triangulation is high center interference. Now we understand the box location of triangulation. Now this is a reset location of programs. The position location of track line is the space academy of division. Now the expansion of stream location is coming in line set location of 7 waves of generation. Imagine that, 7 generation waves. Center correlations as 7 bodies of water. Set position location is line setting into 8 infinity cycles. Position of track line is in a 4 generation stream. What's the 4 generation stream? Your elements of set locations. How to use the earth, how to use the airs, the waters, and the fires. Directing lines of high calculations and 4 signals in 5 line system. Our direction of time sequence, 2 in panels, 3 in activation, 4 in traction, and 5 in set location system of yin and yang. The process of the communication line settings really understand how to adaptate the service locations. The measure and its the court and the stream location setting is redirecting panels. The operation location system is putting the expansion line settings. All set location lines setting interference. The triangulation resurface and position location to its all level setting is position of tractions. Now the traction in the communication setting is in 1 line interference, 1 tether. Now that 1 tether operates the set location at 12 sets. 13 lines of graph line streams in position to all levels of the avatar into the geometric operation of design. The central communication of the SIM of the mind and navigation line setting is opening up more panels of conscious location of stream sets. We're coming into high lines of high interference of 7 cities of holographic locations. Now the position of track lines puts you in a 12 line sets, and outline interference puts you in another 12 line sets. 12 lines of space and 12 lines of time comes in 1 lines and 1 tether. Position of track communication puts you in a new program setting into an operation surface and set location of schematics over pi. Direct line set location of your clock lines puts you automatically into 24 line ground line streams. Direct line position location is a 48 panel of window frame locations. The central communication line interference is a 72 computer op. The set position of a CPU to the compute system location is now generating line centers a high track communication setting to its brain convergent location to its system through dimensional sims. A dimensional sim to an automatic line calculation setting to a simulation sim. The operation surface to its location system is all about understanding the space mechanics of view of expansion. Broaden your bandwidths and the correlations of your mind and consciousness is high position in its track communication to its information panels. The operation surface to its track communication setting is opening up more levels of set location. So in that track communication setting, it's really understand the higher self and what it's used for through a location system when it comes into human residence, how to get into its own monitoring system, how to get in position location, view, alpha wave line center, delta wave communication, get in line communication, the theta, line communications, anything through open sequence, position location omega. All calculate and modify how you come in a gamma signature pattern. All different ways and center calculation line interference and radiation cycles. Signifies peg calculation stream locations and its zeta, Z line rotation, position of rotation surface. Triangulation and reset locations and all of box lines of triangulation high calculation setting is high level in sky grid line settings, sky atmosphere locations of setters. Now the setters and position location of the system is tracking communications. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. 24 lines of projects and set location is in pre-production. Now we understand the pre-production to post-production. They modify to all levels of film projection. The center position locations of your mainframe is coming in 48 lines of windows. The frame communication setting is opening more lines of correlation setting into a systematic line stream location in Cinemax. Everybody knows what a Cinemax is, location to a plasma screen. The direct signals to the set location system is going to center up your frame position locations to set locations. Okay, bandwidths over pi in high center locations of longitude and latitude through coordinates and high center interference and travel communication are recharging once you understand the center line communication to your system. The communication of the ground lines of the earth line in position to the higher self, the 13 graph streams and set location line setting. Now, once you get in that system location system, you come into higher levels of your avatar that it creates its own geometric operation of design. The particle set locations in the guard particle position location changes the graph interference. Now that programs its set location system. Now we're working with 24 line settings of academies. That's going to be center up in set positions of platforms, center line calculation setting and direct signal. So in that position locations, they're going out through perimeters or parameter line setting. Security position locations comes in all line calculations and line settings to your solar system location system. Now in that track communication line interference, when you guys come into your space lines of communications of Asgard and set location and high setting, you understand the location system, all levels of outside line graph. You actually see above the line position of the clouds, you can actually see your set location of design. Now in that position location, when you open up more levels of the mind line, it really tracks the communication center. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Coming into the modifications of all lines, identifications of your sim is understanding the singularity of its simulation, of its identification. Now, this is intelligent location and modifications that you have to learn how to use the mind and navigation to your surroundings. Understand the corridors, understand the facilities, understanding your position locations, creating your line calculations to your dorm in that line interference. In that position locations, when you're in your space academies, your bandwidth, the pi, stretches all communication line settings in all position locations of an open window of frame location. Okay? Now, in that track communication line setting, we all have to understand how to use the formulas equation because I want you guys to understand getting into Principal Lyra where she needs that identification code stream. Gypsy's got set one up in the line interference and traffic calculation setting through formula. Now, formula equation line center has to be set in its division. Now, the division line opens up pi indicators. So it's really understand how to set up the schematic line position of travel set locations. Box position location and triangulation line set in high position, right? Now we understand the vorticity line interference of 3 set location of travel settings. Direct lines of 3, in position location of 6, 7 in line positions, 8 line system, and 9 in track location. Now in direct signal, we have to understand how to modify 2 panels of correlation setting and stream location of system. Direct communication line interference is understanding how to open the signal panels in all direct location system of your sun and your moon through track location of beams. Directing line centers high interference is understanding how to set position of track communications in over lines of frame position location and settings in 3 set line connections in all positions to its operation. Center direct signal high interference comes into open signal location and triangulation line settings in all line connections of 3, 6, and 9. Product 2 line interference location 9, 12 lines, set position locations, 24 line positions waiting on signal, flux capacitor line calculation setting on north, west, south, and east, and triangulation line interference in position locations into 30 line time line. That directs locations in all time lines all at one. The center communication line interference is 30 light years away, 30 million years in future adaptation. Setting correlation setting direct location settings, setting up the ether planes, the ethereal line position location of its real field project location setting, and track communication setting opens all lines across stream location system. Privacy line interference in all lines of theta line rotation interference, brain conversion locations over pi, directing lines of cortex over streams, mystical cortex line settings, indirect location line center line interference of 7,000 line interference, location strangulation, high position operation line setting, nanotechnology high interference, high calculation high interference, microtrobal line communication setting, calculation modification, atom lines, molecule structure, communication setting, direct signal, position location up lines, high center interference of 3 line conditions, high system, heart, mind, and soul, direct location system. Down by equation. That's all set up. Setting communication line settings, 3 through 3, right? Direct line centers, 2 panels of operation stream locations. Panels of operation line settings, direct line conditions of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There it is. Boom. That's it right there. So graph lines of square line rotation surface and track locations. Now directing lines, see that? Platform line stream, 24 line signature stream locations are set up. 24,000 line settings in 1 signal, 1 operation in 1 second. 1 second over panel in a 24 line clocking. That direct line connections puts you in 48 panels of window frame locations. Directing line calculation setting and perceptions over pi. I receptor location setting and direct signal to its operation surface. Triangulation line surface and position locations in position location of 3, in position locations of 4, in position locations of 5, and line conditions of 6 and 7 in position locations of divergent alliance and holographic line calculation setting and 7 bodies of water and track communication setting and 2 line interference and position location of space and 2 line division locations and 3 sets 4, 5 line connection height system and barcode location system traction, directing line center interference and position location of its operation. Done by equation. It's all set up. So in that modification line set, it's understanding the modulation streams of space modulators. Modification line interference is really to understand how to use the keyboard interface, position of track line calculation setting directions, computer interline rotation positions to its computer operation surface. Triangulation height center interference is one lines of spacebar direction. Keyboard line changes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Signature height, position of travel line settings. Okay, also on the dot, the communication settings. So I'm going to push the buttons and it's going to open the frame position near set locations. All right, here we go. Set position line connections. Signature streamlines, high position location line interference, product code line rotation, position of track lines and line interference, and position location of the high center. Convergence over pi direct signals and operation surface and triangulation high position to its operation high condition high position location high interference and cortex location high center position location to its 48 line position location operation surface. Done by equation. Okay. Now the center calculation line setting is all levels in how you see the frames of 48 line rotations. All right. So there's 48 SIMOCs. Now an outline center line condition is an analine setting. So it's an analine interference, set direct locations and analine interference. Tech, TECH, line connection high stream. Directing lines and modification line streams and lacing line communications and direct signal to computer operation line position location, lacing lines and track communications into box position location to triangulation. Directing line signals high interference and high position location recognizes the position of program line settings. So we put position location line center interference, setting position location tractions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 in track locations and energetic graph line streams in a solar sail of set location. Correlation high interference is backtrack and high interference and 12 lines of 13 track line communication setting and direct signal to all position. Okay, center position to its operation line setting is calculated to modify how we set position location and track lines. Flux capacitor lines at 0, operation surface in the correlation setting sets position location high setting in all calculation setting to its rings of correlation. Direct line panels high interference, traffic calculation settings of 24, in position of 48 in the frame communication setting, directing line panels, operation line surface in the high set locations in the 13 graph stream location setting directions. Done by equation. Okay. So in that line interference, it's all set as attractions, right? Okay, we're waiting on signal on line interference. Now the position of track communication is understanding how to open up the panels. Now there's two provision location of line cycles. Position location of 0 lines, bracket line interference, and position of box. Triangulation line centers of pi and calculation string locations. Direct lines of intelligence, position location of box lines, 2 box lines, 3 lines of measure and position location. All right. Direct line centers and position locations, 1 position, 2 position, and 3. So that's 1 sector, 2 sector, and 3 lines of quads in set location of setting. Directing line center locations comes in provision of the sun and position of the moon and track communication to its operation surface. Triangulation high center interference comes in position to its atom of triangulation, its atom of its box, eco-location high interference, position of north. Coming down the line, center line, position of triangulation, reset, position of programs in a diamond core line shift line and a line circle line rotation in center position to center line connections of 0 operation. Done by equation. All right. Signify modification consoles, directing line signals and high position location of its design. Schematics of high set location line system. Track communication lines of 2 panels and 3 line rotation surface and track communications. This is where it gets interesting. Now we have a Hubble communication dimensional line, city information line stream locations, and alpha line channels. Directing line center interference, setting track communication, high lines at all levels of domes, crisscrossing line communication of settings. Position of track lines, open all signals, panel communication line interference, and a 4 waving line streams. Directing line calculation setting, open up all levels of communications of inline set locations of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines setting high position of 6 and 7 on waiting signal, and line rotation surface, and a correlation panel, and operation line conditions of 7 bodies of water of track communication. Done by equation. Done by equation. Now, in that line center line interference, the sequence pattern correlation setting and position location of skylines, sky grid, and sky nets position its track lines to its earth, and set position of travels of said location. See the intelligence, see the eye line set location of the system? Yeah. It's all through modification line streams. Now, the 7 ports and position of telepads are now in seed pods. The direct signal location system is the collaboration line system. Flux capacitor line streams in position location north and east and west and south to a new flux capacitor, new location system in travel calculations. Done by equation. So that's going to surface out because it's got to get ready through adaptation lines, location of metric streams. Now, the console calculation lines of bracket line setting is 1 line set locations. That's 1 lines of 0, 0 lines of 2, 0 lines of 3, 0 lines of 4. Position lines to centers of 0 lines of 6, 0 lines of 7, 0 lines of 8, and 0 lines of 9, 0 lines of 10, and 0 lines of 11, and 0 lines of 12. 0 lines and all line conditions. But wait a minute, General. Where's all the calculations in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? It's already there in set location setting. See, it's all about dictating line interference and modulation interference of mind adaptation service location, the console communication line system. It's the operation service, the balance communication setting, direct signal to all position location attractions. All right, so all signifying line interference in set locations: 1 line division, 2 lines of track, 6 lines of provision, and 4 lines of track location. Now, in that position line condition height system, sky lines of high set interference are 3 set locations of 4. Position line calculations, diamond core line sets positions of 5. Direct line calculations at 3 lines of triangulation high interference of pyramid activation stream location of setting direct location of film project location centers high position of track lines, field strip position location high setting and track communication. All right. Now, getting to the hieroglyphic line stream is really understand how to focus on the clarity position of their programs. The calculation modification to your film projector is all calculated modified. So we bring in the sun and position of track lines. Now we have to set up a circle line rotation surface and triangulation. Okay, triangulation line sets. Now this puts a line communication of a donut line square. Directing line calculation of circulation rotation that crosses signals and line position of its mainframe. And this is where you come into telecommunication of theta interference of set location. Now directing panels sets position location of 0 line, position of 2 lines, and 3 lines, and 4 set location of sequence. Positions of patterns. Now this is where it gets interesting. The position location and line interference into your pyramid line strips line calculation setting to space and time. Directing lines of panels communication setting direct signals in position location to a lower line ground line and an operation surface all timelines all at once and signal line communication of the sun and the moon and track communication. All right, you see it? You see the 3 level line settings. You see the ground line rotations, the spherical sphere line rotation, the center position of the op line center, the epigenetic line stream location setting, the optical line position of the pyramid activation location system. These are 24 line connections of academies, all set up in the weighting signal, line position locations, weighting line interference, 7 line condition high setting, 7 bodies of water, correlation setting, directing line position of panels, 24,000 line stream location settings, opt-in set location of clock line centers of 0 position of seconds, calculate modify high line interference over pi position of traction and line communication of center. Done by equation. Okay, now getting in that position of traction, try to understand how to use the formula line streams. Now your direct locations comes into levels of principal Lyra, where basically her 24 line stream is set applications. This is where we high generation line interference of panel communication line centers of 1 line signature, 2 positions of box, and triangulation reset position of programs and 4 line communications. Now that position locations comes in 1 line rotation of center of ceiling and communication setting and positional location setting. Now that rotates its ground lines, operational line set location, and position location of 1 measure. Position of track lines comes into its diamond core, and line calculation splits the anomalies high center interference, and travel calculations dome sets splits line communication to center line rotation center, and position of track communication setting, and all operational line set location to its position of its operation surface of set location. Now, getting into that line system, you have to understand how to coordinate line centers of zeros and 3 set location of travel settings. Okay, this modifies the system. Travel the line center in high position of travels. The center lines of the sun opens up the signal panel. That rotates the center location in the opposite direct location system of travel calculations. Now, directing lines of signature stream location is the 2 colossal line setting. That's the direct locations of atom and position locations in 3 sets of position locations and line center and position of operation. Signifying high position of travel lines, sets the equal line communications, splits the anomalies, positions of box, theta line rotations, cinematic lines of screens, all calculated high interference of 48 line waves and center line rotation to an atom line surface and center communication to its operation surface. Done by equation. Okay, it's all set up. Now, in that position location, yeah, Magnus Claus is set. Very good. Okay, so we're going to wait on that signal and that line interference. We're going to come back in this platform communications into the 24 academies. Now, try to go beyond line setting. Okay, you're going to see it spread out through location. Understand the ground lines and new earth line rotation, center line interference, and set position locations. So the generation line interference, the only thing that stays in ground line is the 7-wave channel. That's a direct signal location to its high system. Now the waveline centers changes the center op communication to its line position that sets up a new dome center. The platitude line interference is northwest, south, and east. Now this cores the system location of its web netting, and then netting line interference sets line conditions of course changing, position of triangulation of resurface positions of a new ground to new power to new operation system of a 24 line set locations of academies of city position. Okay, all set up. Now, once you get into these line signatures, try to understand how this all works in positions of patterns. The direct signal location system comes in all set positions towards line connections. Now, once you get into formulas equation, you have to understand the bracket communication line systems to its hangers of its operation line system, 2 atom line rotations and position location triangulations into box. Now, the triangulation line sets high position locations, 2 box line centers, triangulation of 3 sets position location to its operation. Now, directing lines of panel communication, triangulation line interference, triangulation operation, triangulation position operation, box line rotations, box line interference, triangulation reset position of program. Setting direct signal line conditions, high center interference, flux capacitor line stream locations in console, and calculation to a tripod and line position. Now, this opens all signal line position location operating line centers, the center communication to earth and line rotation surface and triangulation. Puts position location line settings, high center interference, and set position location measure. Correlation and calculation line settings, opposition of 0 operation, 0 calculation, and 0 position of center. 3 triangulation line center line interference in position location of 1, in position of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and set position operation. Triangulation lines, center line interference of dimensional door lines, gateways of surface, see the gate. Gate line, center line, position location setting, indirect signal, the rainbow wave activation stream location of S-guard and set locations. Direct line position location operation line setting travels position locations out of the equation location of center. The operation line position location comes into the center line rotations, sun lines its communication up lines, high interference in position location to its center in position to its 24 academies and set location. Hooah. It's all done. It's all done. It's amazing what we just accomplished. Okay, so the gates are open. The gates are now open. All right. Setting calculation lines with the shutters and rotation surface and set position on track line is now in open sequence. Pre-activation line string is now in set location. You see it? You see the graph? You see the gates? Setting position of track lines, gate line interference, rainbow, position of frost bridge is now completely open in set location. Traffic calculation line setting is all about understanding how to get in that line communication of its program, but it's all set up through its operation. Okay, so in that position locations, we change the line signatures, down line, shift line, lock line, stream locations. Okay, now this opens all panels, direct line interference, platitude line interference, the center position locations comes in line conditions to a new pyramid line connection high center into placebo cortex of the cerebral cortex high center location of change and position location. Now, in that direct signal, you have to understand how to modify the coloration of 0 lines, in position of 0 grounds, and position location of 0 surface and ozone line conditions. 3 set location of triangulation of resurface and position location operates line set location in its rainbow to its phosphorus communication into its optical line interference and position into the primal line of rotation setting, templates, tablets, calculation, ancestry, communication central, calculation of century, communication line interference, positional program location system, triangulation high interference, atmosphere location setting, direct signal, position location operation line, position location setting. Done. It's all set up. Look at it. Look how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is. It's now open completely. All right, so in position, all routers and routers are now in sequence. okay, and line connections. All right, so we're going to connect with that setting. Track communications back in this provision location. Okay, now when we get at line center and a high center and line rotation to a setting, it's all about datation surface. Now position locations opens up 2 panels and position locations in 1 line set. Okay, now it's done. 3 central line calculations of past, present, and future and center operational lines. Calculate modification of all levels of triangulation line application system into the grounds, into the powers, inline position locations, into 24 academy line settings and track communications. See the pyramid line center, center position of line interference, location line connection high system. Traffic calculation line, direct line center interference, a 3 track communication of point system of 0 line interference, and track communication 10 line interference, a 3 channel location of 4 line center location of 7 position of ground lines, 7 position of good travel, and dimensional line operation, surface location and calculation. Done by question. See how powerful it is when you can do structured design locations? Okay, that's what you need to get into. Okay, faculty and team. All right, so in that line rotations, this is what you send to principal line connections of Lyra. She needs to see the design line. Okay, now this is all datation line interference, the letters, shapes, and position of its algorithm. Center line rotation interference is all calculated in high positions and track communications. So Hemdall, you're going to be extremely busy now in all calculation of rainbow and Frostbridge location. The identification of Asgard is now in setting. The rotation surface location is now in position to the 4th wave generation stream. Getting in that calculation modifications walks the system in position locations, walking line settings into all levels of operation. Okay, done by equation. It's all set. All right, now I'm going to wait on signal line interference because we got to come in a line setting. This officially goes into 1 tether line interference in position of 7 cities and line connections. The open signal locations comes in all position line center interference. Now that track communications comes into moderation of space modulators. This comes into console calculation stream location system, track calculation high interference to operational line set locations. Oh, great. So we got 7 bodies of water, 7 equal lines of body, position of track lines. And this is where we go into the center lines of E equals MC square. Set position of track lines, square line calculation setting into box position location of frequency, where it started from allocation. Now, getting that line signal in 7 position of travel lines is understanding how to travel communication of 7 line streams. Direct and line calculations of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 location systems. Now that's setup position. Now we bring in the sun in line rotations that covers the system locations of setting of its operation surface and triangulation. Okay. Now directing panels is all about understanding how to use the equal line calculations, how to use the equal line center in rotation, how to use the equal calculation setting to the Merkaba up and the Merkaba down, and the center line communication of surface position. Coming into massive calculations, streamlines, high calculation, half pipe position locations into the moon, coming in correlating direct signals in the operational line calculation stream location and the energy line interference, product line interference, and travel communication setting and direct signal of its operation. Done by equation! Woo! The dimensional doors are now open through panel communications of portal calculation line interference. So Gypsy, you're going to be extremely busy now. Position of operation surface is now in a triangulation reset. The position location of a dimensional door is now open through sequence location system of round calculation. See? He closed the door. Now I got to open it up again because it's going too fast. See? Boom. It's now open. So 4th waveline center is signal line rotation, center position, and track communications. They go through the same process in line position locations. So E equals MC squared is now out of its equation line setting at redirect signals of all operation surface and center communication line setting and all travel communication line interference in a 24 academy and the line position location of its operation. Hooah! Woo! Woo! We did it! Now we just go on position line settings, then we just go high rise, high rise, high rise, high rise. Because we got the ground level now. After tomorrow, you guys are in a 7 body line connection high center interference, a 7 visual location system, sectors, vectors, and quads are now set up in all-track communication setting of expansion line set locations of 24 academies in Space City, head and rotation, directing lines of communication. Okay, just showing you exactly what is created through line connections, all levels through provision. Okay, that's what you guys have to come into all calculation modifications to S-guards, all calculation. The gates are now open. Okay. All right. Let's get into solar text line stream. I know this is big, guys. I told you to be patient, and now you're being patient. You're finally coming into your settings. Your genius and your brilliance is going to volume your line calculation setting, how to set position your track communications, how it modifies line set location, your cerebrals, your placebo cortex, calculates the high center interference, your cosmic effect line stream locations, your cosmic universe line rotations, your soul generation line interference, your soulmates, your twin flames, and your sacred flame communication now is coming in position location operates signal because the rainbow bridge and the frost bridge is now open through position locations and a fourth wave generation stream location of set location. Make it pass. It's all set up. So in position location, it's all about understanding how to open these frequencies. The frequency communication line setting opens all track through its communication of its 13 graphs into all line set location to its avatar and geometric operation design in the sim, in the mind, in the navigation into your surroundings applications. Okay. Tina, line position location, Gingy position location, all levels settings, all calculation modifications of the high center interference into Gypsy position location, all levels of Michaela into Heather position location, all lines of Chris communication, high position location, travel lines of Hendal position location, all line interference, and track communication setting, and direct location of Danielle position location, high center interference, and travel calculation, high position location operation. All right. Angela, high center interference, travel calculation line, position location. Angela, you got to be in a modification line stream. Okay, I got to put you in line interference, another bubble in a rotation center. There you go. Line rotation, positional travels, McCall line interference, travel calculation lines, direct signals, and position location operation surface. Triangulation high center interference and box position location triangulation and reset position programs. Direct line signals and modification line stream locations in all levels of operation. Okay. Powerful stuff. Okay. Just showing you how everything is done through its equation. Just showing you how everything is done through its equation locations. Getting into that position really gets you into all settings. Try to understand the fortitude stream location, how it's all set up. Once you get into that platitude, everything gets easier in all calculations. So it's 48 graph line streams and direct locations into bandwidths over pi and all set location. Okay. Hoo-ah. All right. So now we got to go into modifications of formulas. Right, it gets easier in position. It gets harder, but then it gets harder. Then it gets easier because the frequency line setting is changing the mind resource line system, which is position location to its setting. So it's kind of like a writing system to an alphabetical line calculation setting to an anagram line interference and set location setting to an abstract location of drawing that centralizes communication setting, direct signal to location system, calculates and modifies an all line position your travels and line position location to its operational line set location every signals that gets in position location to higher line connections to your space anomalies. Directing the lines of rotation surface is all calculated to modify how you relay that high set locations. Yeah, well, thank you very much, internal. So bracket communication is 0 lines of operation. Bracket communication is in 1 line operation. See how I changed lines of 0 into 1 operation? 0 lines of 3, 0 lines of 4, but it looks like a 0. But where's the 4? 4 is already done. 5 lines of setting, 6 lines of division, and 7 lines of rotation. Okay, signify high calculation of flux capacitor to position location attraction. Directing line calculations of 2 bracket line centers, center line operation surface, and position locations to its setting into its line calculation setting interference. Triangulation high interference and 3 track line communications and 1 line rotation surface into the sun of communication line stream and set location. Direct line calculation setting, open all line rotation surface, and triangulation of high position location of programs. Direct line communication, open line interference at ground lines, operation location setting, and 7 cities of water communication. Done by equation. See the intelligent location? So it's important to understand how this is all set up now, okay? So we got the ground routers and line interference and the cosmic universal line location of point systems. Calculate modified and high line and position of track lines and calculation and high interference. Now we ionize line interference and travel calculating lines. This is a cosmic and who all levels of communication setting, direct signal location to a system. This is where I come in and colossal line condition of galaxy line shift lines. Stream location setting, direct lines or rotation surface and set position operation. Now the communication lines are floating in line rotation to a system. Traffic calculation line settings, split the anomalies, high line interference, and traffic calculation setting directions. Direct lines, 1 line rotation, 2 lines, and 3 lines, and 3 sublocation triangles. 3 lines of setting, 3 lines of operation, 3 line divisions, and 3 line conditions of 1, 2, 3, 4, and set position of operation. Now, directing signals is all calculated and modify how we get into crop circle location of change position of travels. Direct line calculation setting and direct signal to its operation surface. Okay, so the constant communication line settings, it's all levels of ground line and center line rotations in 1 position locations and 1 perimeter and 1 rotation. Direct line calculation setting, positions is balance, center lines is rotation, 12 line signatures, 114, and location set and high set location of SIM into Space Academy high track communication system. Okay, now we got a location grid line, set location line system, and all travels. Secured line defense, 3 line triangles, 4 lines position, 5 line sets, 6 positions, and 7 through operation surface and set location. Boom. Okay. So listen while you're heading to recharge. I already worked 7 hours today. While you're coming into high long calculation string location now, Chris. All right, so it's all about understanding is weighting your positions of track lines. Now we're just going to higher levels of volume. The volume communication line interference is changing the graph location of T reception lines. So you got box location settings, triangulation line interference, 0 line rotation, star system location settings, and direct location of rectangular line interference, and 1 location system, a point system, a 1 line center of 0 location. Okay, now understanding how to set position location of separation to the line connections of telepathy, signature patterns, and open all line condition of mind, operation surface is the optical line interference of triangulation, position location, operation setting, and position location of the system. Now, understanding how to use the point system of triangulations, 4-point box lines and 4-line measure, direct lines of 4 high position of travel calculations and 3 set locations, and direct line centers high position locations into 8-line system location. Okay, so the triangulation line center is a 3/4, 4/3 line conditions, a 3 set line condition setting is position location and track lines that opens all the signal line communications to its line setting in all rotation surface in a triangulation reset program and all positional line settings of 24 academies as location. Now, directing modification is all about understanding how to use the 4 lines equal lines of 3. That's 7 lines of communication of 2 op centers and 2 triangulation line interference. 7 position, equal line conditions, 7/8, 8/9, 9/10. Now the 10 lines, 10 lines of its galactic hub line interference of its family line interference, celestial communication, answers to calculation line setting is 11 channels of stream locations. Product line interference of travel calculation line setting in divine puts 12 signals in high line rotation center and position to its operation surface. Sets position of 2 panels and 4 lines of equal lines of 3. Location system and 0 lines of operation of 1 line signal and 0 communication. Directing line center line interference to triangulation line settings and dynamic core line shift line stream location setting, operation surface, triangulation center, position of magnetic high wave information line stream, and direct signals, operation line position location to a system through measure. Done by equation. Okay. Inner line calculations of dome sets are now set at position location of programs. The same calculation of 1 lines and position of 2 lines. Calculation of line surface, calculation of 2 lines, and position of 3. Position of 3 line conditions of 4. Direct line condition of UFOs in 5 set locations. Now, in the direct signal line interference, we come into modification of 3 sets, position of programs. Okay. Now, that line calculation setting opens up the all calculation line streams of 1, 2, 3, 4, and position of travel. Direct lines of the sun coming in line connecting high center interference of travel communication. Now, directing lines of modification line setting, the unification lines of UFOs travels the line centers out of the equation in position locations back into the moon line center and operation surface. Now, in direct signal, which is extremely powerful, once you understand that sun modification line setting sets up dimensional sails, position of track lines, there's the sail, okay? Center correlation to the ground line sets position of track communications in all levels of operation surface in a higher line position location to a solar sail and direct location of center. Okay, look how powerful that is. Boom. Done by equation. 7 cities of set locations now are set up. Okay. Okay, so waiting on positions because we got to bring that back line interference and add frame line center and rotation surface location of film projectors. And the rotation line center location of travel lines. Now, directing lines of modifications, understand your consoles. Now, the console communication line center says the one line tether. That's one tether line rotations. Earth line, power lines, and magnetic highway information line stream and application of the system. Triangulation line surface. Okay, we directed signals and panel communication line settings. 196 allocate line sets and 98% over line set locations, all levels, Celsius over Fahrenheit, and direct signal modification. Now, directing line set location is one line setting into an inner water line setting and position of travel calculated lines at alpha line position of delta waves. So we got an alpha line, we got a delta, we got a theta, and we got a mega line rotation interference, triangulation resurface location setting and direct signal, operational line condition, magnetic line position of point system of location. Now, directing lines of panels, communication line setting, ground line, shift line, communication centers, operational line calculation setting in position of center. Now that rotates the center line position location of 7 waves and set position of earth line and one tether communication of 4 sets of position of traction. Now in that position location of its line calculation setting, ground lines, operation surface, opens all signify calculation of sun and rotation surface and triangulation reset position of programs, directing position location, operation surface, and triangulation. Now that position location opens all line signals. Modified line rotation surface triangulates high position location high center into a colossal communication setting of a donut line center rotation of a center communication line interference in position location of colossal line interference and travel calculation setting in a galaxy shift line of communication. Look how powerful that is. Done by equation. I had the center line its rotation spin cycles. That position location of 4 lines of 3 and center lines of 7. 7 bodies of water are now tracking one tether to the earth line rotation and 4 wave patterns. Directing modification is the 4 generation streamline. Now the spacing line is now in the ground lines, but in the rotation surface. So they automatically go through the forcing stream location of the center. But the dimensional line looks like a donut wheel, right? Now the set position of travel line is now set up. Okay, so again, we're going to wait on signal, keeping the modifications on storage facility line rotations and mainframe position attractions. Now, in directing line settings and high position locations, I understand how to use the CPOD line set location of electrical line streams. Directing line communication to graph lines. Position locations. So we got 1, 2, 3. Position of 4 lines of high calculations and of 5. Center position location of 6 and line condition 9. Line size position of 7. 7 operation line set location of settings. Fire and wire calculation lines of flux capacitor 3 set location system. Triangulation line surface, position line condition, the ground line surface, line condition, cross and stream location of setting. Operation line condition, center, position location, triangulation line surface, and position location of measure. Rotation line interference, electrical line infusion, position location, travel lines, high position location, operation line interference, position location, high center, position of complex system location of setting. Done by equation. It's all set up now. Okay? It's all set up. And if you look really, really close, you can see the intelligent location of streamline and spacing line communications. You see it? Do you see it? It's sitting. All right. So position location. Position line center. All calculation modification. There's the feet. Triangulation height position location. There's the arm. Position of track line communication all levels. That's that position. I did it on my TikTok where it was going around the graph line, center line, and position, the CPOD communication, the cortex line, position location in the cerebral, but the correlation line interference. The rebirthing line rotations into rank conversion line setting is in a higher position outline sequence and high position location is measured. Correlation high division location now in set position here is nanosecond line and position location high setting in all communication to a system into calculation. Now it's done. All right. That's it. We're good. So, setting position of track lines. Congratulations. Congratulations. It's all set up. Now, the frequency line set location is you guys are in a different frequency line stream. This is only for the immortality line position of faculty. Everybody goes to their process correlation setting just like everybody else in line can in high setting. But you really have to understand how this all works and position location of its program of set location. Okay? All through convergence. Now, the only thing left line is set up line condition of 0, position of 1. 2 lines of 3. Got to put them in order. 4 lines of 5. Now, the 5 lines of 6. Now, there's 7 line communication. That's 2 7-line settings. 8 position of track lines. You got to put them in line communications. 9 line division. 7 line rotations. Now, there's line communication, 3 lines of center. Track communication line interference. Cluster communications and all levels of the brain communication setting direct signal. Done by equation. Dun, da, da, da! All right, that's it. We are good. We are good to go. Woo! How do you guys feel now? Yeah, well, I like to be in line position location and setting of what's just happened through your location area expansions. Okay? All signified in all chronological location system interaction. Okay? Thank you, Heather. Thank you, team. Thank you, faculty. See how it goes? Line signal, high position, and track communications. All through light signature stream location of settings. But it's amazing how we set these things up through perimeter. It actually can see the configuration line configurator location system, recharge communications. But it's all in chronological order calculation line settings. A CPOD, a position location division. All right? Hooah! All right, so it's a process that everybody will eventually get there, but it's up to you, the determination. Understanding your commands, understanding your control, staying in your center, staying in your operation, use it as a privilege, don't use it as a right, don't abuse your power, stay in your structures, stay in your division, stay in your discipline, stay in your commitments, and you'll be totally fine. Okay? All right. Tomorrow, line center line and position locations, 7 bodies of water and track locations coming up. Adios.